leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Gandhi, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Car era lore. Call me Levi playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like the Brown James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Refuse not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum entities. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
boy.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Breaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits, yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the ride with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain GM. Thanks so much for joining us. If you haven't done so, do us a favor, drop a GM in the chat down below, then head up top, smash the like, repost, and bookmark on today's space. Greatly appreciate it. It warms up the algo, lets everyone else know that we're here, and does us a real solid. We're also live over on YouTube. Shout out to Machiavelli over there and all the GMers. We also, you'll find the X video feed and abstract chat also live. So go best GMers, drop the GMs in all those spots, but at least give us a like, a bookmark on the audio space today. Would help get things warmed up. As I'm flying solo once again, Steve's out this week. We'll be back next Monday. And once again, with intent going after yesterday, I thought it went pretty well. I'm going to go co-hostless today, at least a no planned co-host. We'll see how the morning flows. But I feel I enjoy the old school vibes. And I feel it. Maybe my read is off here, but I feel when I have a guest co-host, it sometimes limits conversation from the rest of the group. Like they don't want to step on someone's toes, or they feel it's like a special interview. And yesterday was just really good dialogue from many parties, including several new voices. So we're gonna run that back again today. TBD on Thursday and Friday what we do, but we do have a few. I actually got some DMs I need to get back to today. I saw them at the gym, but want to give a proper response. But there's a few friends that have some exciting stuff they're building. I want to bring on and highlight. So we may do kind of like a hybrid co-host slash interview over the next couple of days. But as always, I'm Cap, not joined by my co-host Steve today. He is joined some family time and on the mend. But as always, Never any financial advice on the show. Crypto is risky, NFTs are risky, meme coins accept your risk. Go to 0 moments notice. Know that I will hold tokens I will talk about from time to time here on the show. I'm not a financial advisor, certainly not your financial advisor. Don't join me for that. Just join for some fun, some information, and maybe a little bit of education along the way. I am a little salty this morning. The title, most of crypto Twitter excited about the big beautiful bill passing Senate because it is appears to be likely to turn the money printer back on and liquidity flow into all risk on markets. That's not a bad thing, but some language got snuck in there that I am not a joke. I sent it out earlier this morning. I pinned it up top. If it passes, I probably won't make the move in 2026 because my daughter will still be living at home in her senior year of high school. But if this does pass, extremely likely that I end up moving out of the States in 2027 or second half of 2026, because it would basically make I don't know how to say this. I am not a professional sports gambler. I'm not a professional DFS player or best baller. However, I'm a very profitable amateur player, and it has been my most consistent side hustle for decades. And if you missed it, just kind of jumping right in hot. By the way, as always, open stage this morning. If anyone has any thoughts or comments on Big Beautiful Bill, or as I'm going to call it, the Big Ugly Bill, or any other news, there's a lot of things. The one thing I may actually ask for some assistance on, if anyone is deep in the Azuki streets, they announced their studio yesterday, and I shared Norm. Seems like a big deal, although I just don't know enough about that world to really speak intelligently about it. So we'll fly over it at least. But yeah, if anyone is deep in those Azuki streets and wants to help talk through the Azuki studio announcement here in a bit, would love to have you up to dive into that. But the TLDR on this Big Ugly Bill is they slid in some language. Let me see if I can pull up there's a bunch of videos on it. That's what I shared this morning. But let me see if I can pull up some text here so that we can kind of read through the TLDR of this bill, because it's just bad. I have to think through because it's not am I biased? Yes, I supplement my income. I have for decades with sports betting, DFS, and best ball, all of which are impacted by this big beautiful bill, or could be if it passes as stated today. And apologize, I'm trying to find this actual article on it. Not seeing. You know what? I shared it in the Word. I'll go grab it there, and then I'll share it here on the screen. But when I say bad, it's giving me, for those that were online poker players, it's giving me Black Friday vibes. It is in Black Friday. Actually, you know what? Let's do that. We're going to do our super early, maybe our earliest ever. Let's actually set up the conversation well. This may be our earliest, the more you know, we've ever done. But I've got a good more you know for this topic. So I'm going to do that. That'll prime the conversation, and then we'll jump into to Big Beautiful Bill. But this is time for the more you know, brought to you by ENS.
The more you know, brought to you by ENS.
It's time for the more you know, brought to you by ENS. ENS does more than you know from one name for all chains to allow you to launch decentralized websites, security, interoperability, and ease of use. Go to ens.domains to learn more and secure your ENS domain. The more you know, Poker's Black Friday edition. On April 15th, 2011, the U.S. Department of Justice dropped the hammer on the online poker world, seizing the domains of PokerStars, Full Tilt Poker, and Absolute Poker. Overnight, American players were locked out and billions of players' funds were frozen. It wasn't just a crackdown on gambling, it was a shot heard around the world. Online finance, sound familiar? The feds charged the sites with bank fraud and money laundering, alleging they misused, they misled banks about the nature of poker transactions. The fallout: Full Tilt was exposed for not having enough funds to cover player balances, basically running a Ponzi scheme. Thousands of players lost access to money for years, and the U.S. online poker boom came to a screeching halt. It was known as Poker's Black Friday, a reminder that when the house gets greedy, even the government calls their bluff. again, ENS does more than you know from one name for all chains. So allow you to launch decentralized websites, security, interoperability, ease of use. Go to ENS domains to learn more and secure your ENS domain. That was our The More You Know, brought to you by ENS. And why that is so relevant today is it literally killed a booming industry in the States. Online poker was exploding. Some people were, it was a great side hustle. They were earning, material part-time incomes. Others it was their full-time profession. You've heard Steve talk about it before. He was paying the bills out of college, playing online poker. And as I had several other friends that did similar, and they dropped, that Black Friday hit, and it was over. Like, it just completely eviscerated an entire industry here in the States. And we've kind of like scratched and clawed, I feel, to get back to a point where it feels like we get so like, oh, the things have changed and regulatory, it's now regulatory tailwinds instead of headwinds, and it's favorable here in the States. It is for some things, but this big beautiful bill, it will eliminate professional gamblers essentially in the US. Like it's professional sports bettors, professional gamblers, they grind edges. They're not playing off 50-60% margins. Not to put you on the spot bunch. If you can help me out with the chat with some stats, or if you want to come up and join this, you're more than welcome, but no obligations. It's like, I think if a professional poker player makes a 10% profit on a year, they're printing. Like maybe some do that. But it's a volume game. So, they maybe make $100,000 gambling off of over $1 million in volume. Like I said, I am not a professional gambler. I'm not a professional DFS player. I'm not a professional poker player. I'm not a professional best baller or sports bettor. But in my peak, I've had years where I had 7 figures of volume. I didn't make 7 figures of earnings or 7 figures of profit, but my winnings were 7 figures, offset by losses that were also 7 figures. At the end of it, if you make $1.2 million in winnings and you lose $100 million, so you net 200 grand, pretty successful year for, I think, most gamblers, at least not in the professional variety, not your large syndicates and stuff. Most would consider a good year. You made 200 grand, you're going to pay taxes on the 200 grand. What this big beautiful bill proposes is not, no more. If it goes into effect starting next year, you'll only be able to write off 90% of your losses. Meaning, in that same example I just shared, I still not finding the actual. Let me just pull it up because it'll be better to show you side by side. In that same example, you win 1.2 million, you lose $1 million for a net of 200,000. Now you're not paying tax as proposed, as the big beautiful bill is proposed. You wouldn't be paying taxes on the 200,000 that you actually earned, that you actually won, your actual income from those activities. You're paying taxes on 1.2 million minus only 90% of your losses. So instead of being able to write down your actual losses, you're not, like, the 10% margins that probably many are surviving off of, or that's their whole profitability goes away. Like in that example, let me just show you Phil's post here. So this breaks it down much better. So basically, you get taxed the more you earn from gambling, even if you netted 0 or less. So here's how it works. You win 100K and you lose 100K, you owe tax of $10,000 of phantom income. I'll repeat that again. You could break even and lose and still owe tax on $10,000 of income that you didn't earn, but they're going to force you to claim it as income. You win 100K and lose 50K. You actually profited 50K, but you owe tax on 55K. It gets worse. You win 100K and lose 150K, so you actually lost $50,000 gambling that year. Now they're rubbing salt in the wound, because not only did you lose 50K, you still owe taxes on no tax owed, but your deduction is capped at 100K. So, which is more than 90% of 150K is 135K. So anyways, the example I was given on the 200K a year might have been 3 million in winnings, 2.8 million in losses. This means 200K being taxed as if they actually earned 480K. It's asinine. It makes no sense. And I don't know. No, they're like the poker players are talking about it because they've lived through this with Black Friday. I just not to be an alarmist, not to kick off the show with negativity and poo-pooing a bill that a lot of crypto Twitter thinks is positive, but it's really bad if it gets approved as planned. And I don't know what's going on, but there seems to be something's going on in the world of lobbyists. Like we just had there was a bill in New Jersey that made some pretty sweeping changes as it relates to sports betting. California is trying to get a bill passed to take basically wipe out DFS. And while I'm talking sports betting, DFS, and best ball, it's gambling. Like, so all these online casinos that y'all are playing, you might be using a VPN to access them because they're not allowing you to access in the States, but you still, you do well, you're probably still gonna have to you should claim that income. It's just now it's going to be very hard to be profitable. To do things correctly, it's going to be very challenging to be profitable in the world of gambling if this bill passes. It's just you're basically taking 10% off the top, which in that world that's really good. And those there's a lot of people who aren't really good who now are gonna, like, maybe the casual user who's just doing it for entertainment. They don't think much about it. They it doesn't impact them that much. But for anyone who's doing this stuff seriously and doing any sort of real volume, it's a major blow to the industry. So I don't know. I'm not going to say call your representatives and tell them how dumb this bill is and they can't pass it through, because it's also one of these things. This is what frustrates me with politics and probably why I'm not a fan of and don't involve myself any more than I have to be for this show to speak semi-intelligently. But shit like this that they jam into, someone's pet thing they needed to get done, some lobbyist got in their back pocket, and now all of a sudden you have a bill that has, for all intents and purposes, nothing to do with sports betting, and yet could take out the entire, could have a tremendous negative impact on the industry at large. So I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on that. If anyone else, I didn't lose sleep over it, but Squiddy said legal gambling had a good run. Not able to write off all losses. It is insane. I agree. It's just like, I can't even think of an analog that would make sense. I can't even, I'm struggling to comprehend why they would even put this in there. Like, anyone who understands the industry knows that this would be a near death blow to it. And like, it's one of those things, like they want to make more revenue, they want to make more taxes, but you got to have players, you have to have volume to generate said revenue. And less of a percent, or allowing people to write off 100% of their losses is and only taxing the remainder is better than all these whales, all these professionals leaving the country. Like, I just stress, I am not a professional sports bettor. I've never ran a syndicate, but the amount of money that flows through these operations is insane. And they're not going to just, I don't see any of them continuing to operate in the States if this goes through. We'll just say that. And the ripple effect that could have through these ecosystems. I don't know if everyone realizes how important whales are to sports betting, to DFS, to best ball. You like these big guaranteed prize pool tournaments. We don't get there without the whales, most likely. Like liquidity, we understand how important liquidity is in crypto and meme coins and in trade in NFTs. It's very similar in betting, DFS, and gambling. Like, if you don't have someone on the other side of the trade, you don't have people filling up these guaranteed prize pool tournaments that are millions of dollars. Now all of a sudden it becomes a $500,000 guaranteed prize pool. Then next year it becomes $100,000. Like, it's just the industries have been going like this. And this could be, for the first time since I can remember, since not even exaggerating, the first time since Black Friday, so that was 2011, that I felt like, oh man, this could be a really big deal. Like maybe it's not going to shut the entire thing down like Black Friday did online poker, but it could be the beginning of the end, or the beginning of a mass exodus from these gamblers leaving the US. I'm not even kidding. I shared, I think it might be taken as a joke right now, but if anyone's interested in a compound in the Bahamas, yesterday I was talking. I'm going to do a little pilot RWA real estate on chain. Like I've got some ideas. I want to do some stuff in the Tampa market I live in currently, because there's a lot of, it's funny, a lot of these homes got hit by hurricanes last year and they have to basically tear them down and rebuild. And because there's so many and people aren't buying them right now, they're undercutting the market. They continue to undercut themselves like it's a NFT collection racing to zero. It is almost comical. I feel bad for them. So I say this like tongue in cheek. I'm not like trying to be an opportunist to rub salt in their wounds, but it's like not even exaggerating. There's homes that, yes, they need work. They either need completely, they've been like, basically think of it like they got hit. There was some flooding. They came in and they did remediation. They pulled out all the drywall. Like if you look at the pictures of the home, it's like you see like up to here, it's just studs. They've already taken all the drywall out. So it's like some of these probably could be remodeled. A lot of them are just going to need to be demolished and rebuilt on the lot. But it's gotten so bad. The lots are listed now, lots with a house on it. The grain of the house needs remodeled or maybe demoed, but they're listed for significantly less than the same dirt was in the same neighborhoods a year ago. So I tie it all together here. While I still am going to look at this area because I think there's some opportunities. It may be, instead of a long-term hold, maybe a short-term flip to then parlay it into a property, a compound in Bahamas. So yeah, if anyone's looking for a nice weekend getaway spot, not just the VPN type, but actually a place to get away, live 181 days out of the year, I'm exploring all options in case this thing does hit the fan. Because I know this isn't for everyone, and people probably think, oh, you're not really going to move. I'm at a point in my life where about a year from now, I've got a lot of flexibility, and there's yes, family, but flights are not too ridiculously expensive, and it was shocking to me when I heard this, and I had to read it a couple times. And I know not all of you are sports bettors, not all of you are gamblers, but I do think this could have a bigger impact. Like I think if this goes through, I wouldn't be like, the reality is you're gambling on meme coins, right? Like imagine if they do the same thing imagine if this same law got applied to meme coins. If you're having trouble getting it, like, oh, what's the big deal? Imagine if they applied this to crypto trading. Trenches are dead. You can't only factor in 90% of your losses when, I guess some people you hit a big one, you're good, but it's just so, it makes no sense. We got a few comments in chat. Lord says, they don't want it operate in the States. This is on purpose. It's a syntax. Revolve says it's probably seen as a luxury income industry, like taxing legal weed at 35% to claim it's for schools. Problem is the gambling voter base is much smaller than the overall voter base. Also, you could tell anyone how bad this bill is, but the cult won't care because this is the cost of winning. That's all they want to see. All valid points. And man, though, it is frustrating. So that said, that's where I got off to a salty start to the day of my beloved DFS, best ball, and sports betting is under fire covertly through this big beautiful or big ugly bill. And just I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. It really was the last thing I expected in this bill was some funky tax law that's going to make me consider like my life decisions. It's like if this does pass, in all seriousness, there's two outcomes. I move out of the country, or I stop. I just become purely an entertainment sports bettor. I don't even want to total up my best ball volume this year. It's going to make me angry for what might come in future years if this thing passes. So wish us luck, and shout out to the fresh sauna-ers out there. GM Von Frunten, fresh out of the sauna. As we said yesterday, 20 minutes in the sauna a day keeps the doctor away. It's our new app of the day for our generation. And someone, it was Stussy, I think, shared there's a new gym opened up near us. New crunch. Look at this. It's not a sponsored bit, but a new crunch gym opened up near us, and it cleared out my gym. So I was going to go check out the new gym, and it's just up the road, up the highway a little bit, because they got nicer stuff. It's brand new. Someday I'll go and do like a hot yoga. I've never done. A guy, Michael Keene's been beating that drum for years. What it did though is it took my gym and made it, even at like 5, 6 in the morning, it'll be like I gotta wait for machines sometimes. It's very busy. And since the new gym opened, just like last week, it's cleared it out. So it went from waiting to like there's like maybe a quarter of the people in my gym now. A lot of them, some of them I expect will probably come back. They're probably similar to me. They're just gonna go drive the extra 10 minutes up the road and check out the new gym, and they'll probably be back in the future. But right now it is cleared out the gym mania in the morning. So I have not made it up to the new one. Holy moly, Rocky! Appreciate the tip over there. Everyone is a wise move going the USDC route with Pingu ripping. I mentioned yesterday I get pleasantly surprised every time I open up my abstract portal, in my abstract global wallet continues to be up and to the right. It's up like 60% in the last week on the back of Pingu. BT Dwayne says you would not only have to move out of the country, you would have to renounce your U.S. citizenship. Otherwise, you pay U.S. taxes no matter where you live. Maybe I would need to look into it further. I was under the impression that you could, if your primary residence was like the one I've looked into in the past was Puerto Rico, you had to live there for 181 days, the majority of the year, and then you did not. But again, I'm certainly not an accountant, and not hopefully I don't have to look into this further, but I probably should start planning ahead, or plan to throttle down my my sports betting activity. But anyways, on to other Web3 happenings. I mentioned if anyone wants to chat sports betting, Big Ugly Bill, by all means we can. But otherwise, we'll jump into it's about where you declare your tax residency. That's what I thought. And you can't just declare. Like I think the threshold is 181 days, if I'm not mistaken, and not opposed to living in PR or the Bahamas for half the year. Studio from Anime. Wait, he says I'm getting, again, I don't know, getting different conflicting stuff on the tax stuff, but I will I'll look into it further. Maybe we'll get an actual accountant on here to talk us through what that means. Maybe I would have to renounce citizenship, but I didn't think that was the case. Maybe you all are correct, though. Hopefully they kill the bill or revise it to get the stupid clause out of there, and no issue. Yes, it is an ugly bill, Mel. It is the big ugly bill because they're attacking, I shouldn't say my livelihood, but attacking something I enjoy, and something that I don't know. I should probably go back and add up over the last couple decades what it is actually meant to my income and net worth. I certainly have had down years, but over the long run, it's been a very profitable side hustle for me, and I would hate to lose it, not just for the extra income, but it's again, I enjoy it. It's something that's fun, and Dubai is an option as well. But I need to look into this. I really don't want to renounce my citizenship. I would probably, if it came down to that, I'd probably just stop playing as much. But I will. The dual residency thing would be. I would not be opposed to. So back to Azuki and their studio announcement. Again, I don't. It's not something I follow. I saw somehow like Will Smith and others were involved in this. I will pull up the actual announcement, and then please, if there are any Azuki fans that are deep in this ecosystem, jump in, because the Studio Azuki, it's a joint anime studio with Komisama, I told you I don't know any of this, and Xenotune to develop, produce, and distribute anime globally. We're leveling up Web3's creative power and shaping the future of anime. Alongside the launch, Studio Azuki has formed a strategic partnership with Westbrook Inc. by combining Studio Azuki's production capabilities with Westbrook's deep Hollywood network and expertise in global entertainment. The partnership aims to bring anime to audiences worldwide. This is a Variety article that went out. Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith's Westbrook partners with newly formed Studio Azuki for global anime push. This is my first time hearing of Westbrook, but apparently Will and Jada's company. I just not my world. I'm assuming they do more than just anime. I don't know if it's I don't think it's just like an anime Westbrook. I don't think it's just an anime venture, but combines Studio Azuki's production capabilities with Westbrook's deep Hollywood network and expertise in global entertainment. Westbrook was founded by Jada Pinkett, Will Smith, and Miguel Melendez, and Jada focus on empowering artists to tell stories that connect the world. Again, I think it's big news. Seems like a good win. It's not my world. I don't really have a whole lot else I can add to that because just not familiar. But once, I think another big win for a crypto native brand, another big win for a Web3 native brand is a win for all of us. So no, nothing, nothing to critique, nothing to, I just don't know. So yeah, if anyone's deep in that and wants to talk further, we can. Otherwise, we'll probably roll into the next big controversial announcement that was Xeet yesterday. Actually, let's do this. We got 8:30. Let's do a quick market update. We're going to talk Xeet next. If anyone has opinions on this, it seemed to be pretty controversial yesterday. I saw some KOLs fighting it pretty hard, calling it a copy pasta of Fantasy Top. I do not think that is what we're going to be seeing, but I don't know. But yeah, we're going to talk Xeet and the announcement, what we believe to be coming there in a second. Before we do that, though, let's go ahead and knock out a daily market update, and we'll talk Xeet when we return.
The daily market update straight to your brain. Powered by Apecoin, no hype, just gains. Moving on 8chain, we bring in the heat. NFT trends alpha, never miss a beat. 8chain on top, now we bringing the flex. The home of NFTs, these now what's next. Come on, my head top, but you want the time to chop for one time.
All right, it's time for the daily market update powered by ApeChain. ApeChain is on top, the home of NFTs. Speaking of NFTs, we're going to start with NFTs today, and then we will roll down to our favorite tokens. Once again, top of the volume, 42,000 sales. There's your tracker on OpenSea Farms, the Larva Lads, the favorite collection to farm. The $5 token trades there on OpenSea. 42,000 sales, 199 ETH. I think OpenSea, I believe, takes 0.5%. So quick math on that. What is that? 2 ETH they made in fees off of Larva Lads trades over the past day. We're all getting farmed by OpenSea, fellas and ladies. Pudgy's up 2% on the day to 9.78. CryptoPunk's flat. Bored Apes down 2% or 1.5% to 10.5. I think I saw Zero recently called that Pudgy's trending to flip apes. Probably, I don't know. We'll see how other side hits, but I'm expecting Codus to get most of the love there. So we'll keep eyes on that. DX Terminal, 5% gain on the day. Quite a bit of volume. I don't even have to look. This is going to be another OpenSea farm just due to the price point. If you're wondering, like the 0.004, 0.003, how they've been doing the farms over there, the voyages they call them, is usually it's like do a $5 trade or $5 NFT, and then there's a higher dollar amount, like a $50 trade or $50 NFT. The $5 ones are these, Larva Lads, DX Terminals. They're not in demand NFT collections. It's just part of the farm. Little Pudgy's up 6% of the day. The Pudgy ecosystem continues to run while the market's mostly flat or down. Mutant Apes gave up another 2% to 1.68. Azuki down 1% on the news to 1.89. Meglio down 1%, but still holding up above mint price here recently. And Milady Maker up 3% to 2.14. Stocks we probably should start including in the daily market update now that they're coming on chain. These are actually the X. These are actually all the on-chain stocks. They should match the actual stock price. There may be a little fluctuation based on liquidity. However, my understanding is if you ever want to redeem, regardless of what the on-chain price is, your redemption comes at the exact price of the actual equity being traded. Red day across the market, giving up some of the gains. Apple, the only one up on the day. Rolling past runes, we're going to skip those here in a second. But memes, we've got SPX Morale coins leading the way up 2% to $1.20. Sheeb up 1%, Bonk up 3%, everything else flat. And then last but not least, Bitcoin up 1% to 107,643. ETH, our favorite stablecoin, 24.51. XRP down 1%, Solana flat, Doge flat, Cardano flat as well. That's our daily market update brought to you by ApeChain. ApeChain on top. Head to ApeChain Hub to find out more. And I mentioned Xeet. We're going to roll right into Xeet here. This is so Diablito, right before I get into it, says, I didn't know the Fantasy Top looking Xeet raised so much FUD. It seems similar but different. Everyone gets a card, I guess. Don't know much about Fantasy Top, whatever. I'll participate. I'll pull up some of the, not necessarily FUD, but there's definitely some critical takes. Bunchy says, this is from Chris Moneymaker, who, back thinking of the Black Friday days in poker, Chris Moneymaker was one of the first like amateurs who won the 2000 World Series World Series of Poker, beat a bunch of pros, and it led to like a surge in online poker. It was the rags to riches story. And anyways, he says, anyone hiring a 50-year-old male with zero work history in the last 25 years says, would you like fries with that? So yeah, not only for those of us that do this, part-time or as a side hustle, as a hobby, those that actually have been doing this as a profession, like I feel for them, man. Like this is just brutal. But anyways, back to Xeet. Enough big ugly bill talk. I'm gonna change the title to, and anyone wants to get in the Xeet conversation, just throw in a request so I can see out there. But what the F is Xeet? The announcement we got yesterday announcing Xeet. Am I saying it right? Xeet? Did we decide that's the correct pronunciation? Xeet, or I believe so. We're gonna go with it. Announcing Xeet Leagues, the social layer that aligns incentives across all participants. Every Xeeter, I don't know. I hate the name. Will have their own card in play, not just a select few. Collect, trade, and compete on abstract chains. Stay tuned for how to earn free packs. So Steve was one who didn't like it. If it is a Fantasy Top copy pasta, Fantasy Top spawned entire group chats that exist solely to boost certain content for financial incentives, not based on content quality. That's not signal over noise. It's financial and content market manipulation. I agree. I'm very bearish if it is just a copy pasta of Fantasy Top. I don't think that's the case. Maybe. My thought was this is an iteration. I think we'll see many iterations. I don't think Xeet is going to be the last. I think we'll see many more of these over the next few years. And until they get it right. And when I even get it right, not just nail it in crypto and Web3, but nail it to where it actually extends beyond crypto and Web3. Fantasy Top meets Kaido, exactly what we needed. I was kidding. I actually remain very bullish on this sector, this concept, and think we will continue to see iterations until one of these protocols nail it and expand beyond CT and Web3. Maybe it's Xeet, the ones that nails it. Maybe not. We'll be playing, supporting instead of critiquing from the sidelines. That's like, I don't know. Maybe it is just a copy pasta. If so, it probably will live for a little bit, and then maybe they beat Fantasy Top. Maybe they don't. I do not think it's a Fantasy Top clone. Let me see if I can find why. There was a video I saw this morning. I'm not even sure if I liked it, but connecting some dots, some information that is available to us. I do not think it is a Fantasy Top clone. Primary reason being is Serpent, who is the founder of Ethos and is endorsing Xeet, is not only endorsing, but it's going to be basically powering Xeet. There's an API relationship at minimum, maybe more, but at minimum, it's it's there is definitely a relationship with ethos and Xeet. I'm not yeah, I didn't like it this morning. So anyways, I'll see if I can find the video here throughout the show. If so, I will share it up top. But basically this video broke down that they went, connected some dots. Serpent was if you go to Serpent's profile on Ethos and look at his Fantasy Top review, he was a seed investor in Fantasy Top. He's got put $5,000 in Fantasy Top. He's really proud of seeing it grow. Hard to believe that an early investor and supporter of Fantasy Top would be supporting and partnering with a competitor to take out one of their early investments. I presume that those seed investors on Fantasy Top did very well as Fantasy Top has continued. I mean, they found product market fit. It's not for everyone. I'm not saying it scales beyond this space. I also agree there's a lot of manipulation involved. There's group chats. It's hyper financialized. But the reality is people still play it. People still enjoy the game. I haven't looked recently, but I believe there's probably more daily active users of Fantasy Top than like 99% of the active dApps in crypto. So there is a fit there, at least a niche product market fit. I don't think that's what Xeet will be. They've obviously said the biggest difference is it won't be limited to just a few. Basically, anyone who wants a card can get a card. So it's different in that regard. I think it's probably a lot more different than just that. I really have no idea what it's going to be. I've put a little bit of thought to it. I can't extrapolate out like what may be different that also makes it more of an InfoFi play, more of a signal play. I don't really know. Curious if anyone in the chat has any guesses or what you're expecting, because I am not expecting a Fantasy Top coffee pasta. I just don't think they would. I don't think they would hype it up like they have and then drop a carbon copy of something that already exists. When they're talking, when the claim is we're going to improve InfoFi, we're going to eliminate the noise. I'm just guessing, but I think there's probably something very different than just another Fantasy Top clone. Maybe not, but I say that not really knowing what that might be. And but it was very controversial. I'll show some. Wales had another pretty. I don't want to say took some shots, but he took some shots. Says quite shocked with the Xeet announcement. It's a copy of Fantasy Top backed by Abstract. They wanted to make their own fantasy. This strategy is wrong for anyone in Web3. Collab, don't steal. Finding a way to put fantasy on abs would be a much better look than this. There's a lot of assumptions in this post. I don't think that's you're assuming it's a copy of Fantasy Top because they have cards. Uniswap just launched cards. It is not a copy. It's not even remotely close to Fantasy Top. Pokemon has cards. It's not Fantasy Top. NBA Top Shot has cards. It's not Fantasy Top. These are cards of creators. Again, Uniswap just did this at NFT NYC, and you can go get your cards. Now, is there a game tied to it? I don't think so. But just because something has cards does not mean it's the same thing. We had Spencer on here with Good Vibes Club and all they're building with Orange Cap Games. It's not the first TCG game. It doesn't mean it's definitely also not a copy of Magic the Gathering or any of the other TCG games that came before it. DraftKings exists. FanDuel exists. Could you say one is a copy of the other? Maybe, but they're different. They offer different games. Underdog competes in the same industry, looks similar. It's very different, offers a different suite of games. My point being is this clearly InfoFi, SocialFi, whatever you want to call this segment, clearly captured the zeitgeist of the space. Clearly has attention. Clearly has liquidity flowing into these different games, experiences, whatever you want to call them. I think we all would agree none of them are perfect. In fact, I think they're far from perfect. So I think it's rather naive to think we don't see more of these. It'd almost be like on par of after Pump Fund started, they generated $100 million in revenue in 6 months. It'd be like saying, oh, we're never going to see another pump launcher or another meme launcher. Or every time we see a meme launch, oh, that's just a copy pasta of Pump.Fun. Oh, they're similar, but it's just like, if something works, it's very naive to think we're not going to see competition. Now, I agree with Steve. If it's purely a copy pasta, it'll work for a while because they've got abstracts backing. But I think it's counter to what their whole signal over noise thing is. So I'm not gonna pass judgment until we know more. But I certainly took no issue with a pack of cards being shared. ICO Beast says, I think it's quite fascinating that everyone has already decided this is a clone ripoff, while I know for a fact that nobody sharing these opinions actually has any information on how the game actually works. Whale did kind of walk it back a little bit, said, you're right, was just blindly speculating at the moment. I think, reading that as well, I think it's safe to assume that ICO Beast, maybe he's not on the team, he's clearly advising. He's absolutely had talks with Pons and the other founders there. He's seen the thing. And I think you can take this, what he's saying here, you can read this as not speculation. He knows what they're building. Whether he's on the team or not, I'm 95% certain that ICO Beast has got a demo. That he's if you've noticed from the jump, he's been very supportive of Xeet and Pons, and him and Pons go back, so it's not surprising. But if you just read his support and his pushback of these tweets, it appears like you could make the assumption that he's on the team. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's not even a paid advisor. I would be shocked if he's not seen a demo yet, based on how he's talking about this thing. So that tells me I'm going to take it at face value, and that it's in fact not a clone of Fantasy Top. Otherwise, he wouldn't be pushing back like this, because he's seen the game. Again, it's my read. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe what they've launched is worse than Fantasy Top. Maybe it crash and burns. I think there's very little chance of it being a pure copy pasta or a fork of Fantasy Top. I think if so, like, I probably won't support or participate too much, because of I wasn't like the hugest fan of Fantasy Top, but it's more so like this. I'm all for an InfoFi, a SocialFi that is actually supporting and highlighting signal over noise. Fantasy Top doesn't do that. So again, that's my rant. I saw Joey flew up on stage. Joey, GM, what's your takes on Xeet? Or
GM, so I'm gonna, in the war room I was pretty harsh, but listening to what you just said, I'm gonna reserve judgment. But I do have a question. If you believe that 95% sure that ICO has gotten a demo or has some insight knowledge, if that's your belief, the fact that ICO is calling it a game, doesn't that concern you? Like, how would this improve InfoFi if it's a quote unquote game?
I mean, InfoFi is a game. Crypto Twitter's a game. Crypto's a game. Like, it just depends on how, like, your definition of a game, I guess. Like, most of the things we interact with, most applications are games, or they are gamified.
But isn't that the problem with InfoFi right now, though, is that it's gamified, which is why it's not actual info, why you're saying it's noise, right? So if you're playing the game, if it's a game, like he's saying, he used the word game, maybe he couldn't think of a better word or whatever, but if it is a game, and if you're playing the game, how does that make it less noise versus actual info if it's a game?
That's fair. So I don't know. I have not seen the game. I've not got a demo. So I am purely speculating. But my high level take on games or gamifying is no one gets excited about data. Like, you gotta the greatest product in the world. If you don't have some hooks, if you don't have some incentives for your users to keep coming back and engaging with your product. And like, you think about InfoPi today, a lot of it is purely about, I want to rank on the leaderboard so I can get paid. Is that an accurate statement? Like, the game is ranking on leaderboard to get paid, correct?
Yeah, it's that's the game, right? Is how much engagement can I get? How many times can I post to get onto the leaderboard to get paid?
Yep. So I'm not saying this is how they're doing it. I don't know, but I could see them using game mechanics to drive what they want to drive, to somehow help identify what is signal versus noise, to when something does get signal and when there is a great post, when there is a post that's full of great signal, great alpha, and it comes from a small account, the game might encourage the active participants to go check that thing out. Not because they are going to rank on a leaderboard, but because that's how the game works, is you're incentivized to identify actual signal, actual players, actual cards who aren't just farming, who aren't just spamming the timeline with AI slop or engagement farming stuff. Like, again, I don't know this is what they're going to do, but I could see using gamified mechanics to drive activity around something that, for all intents and purposes, unless it's benefiting the individual, they're not scanning the timeline every day to identify posts that are strong signal. I mean, we probably all do that naturally because we're here, we're looking for alpha, like what's next, but we're not like, we get in our echo chambers, we have our same accounts, like we're probably not looking for who's out there with 1,000 accounts that's just crushing their calls over the last week. Like, like gamified mechanics could take it too far and create, more noise, but I also could see using gamified mechanics to drive activity for stuff. It's kind of like I think of like ethos, the daily, like leaving ethos reviews, like it's kind of gamified. If there wasn't any incentives there, it's hard to get people to go use a platform to read or leave reviews. It's just not something that, like.
But is a reward system different than gamifying something though? Or are we saying though that like earning rewards is gamification? Like, are they one and the same, or are they different?
I mean, I see what you're saying. I think they're different, but.
By the way, I don't have the answer. I'm just literally asking questions to see what you think and to have a discussion, because I don't know either.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. Like, I don't know. I like rewards, games, like
because like for example at BZ, right? Like we gamified our leaderboard by saying like you can you earn XP throughout the week. So we have weekly quests. It's a gamification of using the platform. If you show up every day and play the claw, you earn so much XP. If you do it so many times in a row, you earn more XP. If you do it so many times in a day, you earn more XP. And then that XP translates into a leaderboard, which then earns you a reward, right? So that's like our version of gamification. So, and we don't know what Xeet's gamification is going to be, but like you said with Ethos, right? Like you had a streak and then you forgot one day, like on a Saturday or something, to go do it, and you lost your streak, right? So I guess that would be my question, is like, not my question, but my point with all this is we don't know if it's going to be a quote unquote game, or if they're just going to gamify the mechanics where you have to check it like Ethos. You check in every single day, you post a review, because those are two different things, right? If it's a game like Fantasy Top, that's bearish. If it's gamification where by participating, by, like you said, like liking smaller accounts who are actually putting out valuable information and blah, 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 that to me would be bullish. So I think that's where we need to get more information on. Is it a game like collecting cards and things like Fantasy Top, or is it just gamification of usage to then in turn get onto the leaderboard and earn rewards, etc.? Does that make more sense?
It does. My guess would be both. Like, let me ask you this. without some sort of gamification, without some sort of game, without cards or something, how would you incentivize active participants to care about other content creators that's not themselves?
Well, I think that's the problem we face right
without
now,
the
which is
whole-
the conversation we also had it in the war room, like me and Steve, is like, how do non-large accounts really break through if there isn't some incentive for people to engage with those small
Bingo.
accounts? But it like
without 3,3, right? And I don't like that. It's also becoming very easy to identify on Ethos who's doing the 3,3 stuff, who's only giving reviews for each other. Like the reviews are looking pretty. It kind of jumps out now that the more I see it. Like that's one way. I don't think that's great. But the reality is the ICO beasts, the Zenecas, the whales, they have zero incentive to support someone that has 1,000 followers out there that's getting great content. In fact, and I'm not saying these individuals, but what a lot of large accounts will do, not only would they not support the content from and the great takes from small accounts, they often just rip it off. Like literally copy and paste the exact same post, and they'll get millions of impressions or hundreds of thousands of impressions. And the small account, what are they going to do about it? Even if they call them out, like nothing happens. Like that happens a lot, more than you would think. It's also like larger accounts. Like I saw Daniel Got Hits, who's like, he's still like basically, but I think he's just in Bitcoin. I don't think he's really trading anything anymore. But I saw he posted something the other day, and I saw like 3 other much larger accounts, like non-crypto Twitter accounts, took his post and ran with it. Didn't give him credit. Just like, it was verbatim, like the exact same. Like they did this. They just drug over. They hit copy and they went and pasted it and sent off their own tweet. Something like this, if done properly. And I'm not smart enough to be able to know. I haven't given it enough thought to. Okay, this is how you would do it. This is the perfect mechanics. I do think for these small, and that like if you take Pawns and Xeet at face value, what they said. My read, and we had Pawns on the show, great interview. We've seen the stuff they put out there. My highest level takeaway of what they're building with Xeet is one, signal over noise. It's in their bio. They want to improve InfoFi by rewarding high quality signal over noisy engagement farming. I love it. It's great. The second thing I've taken away from the conversations is they also want to make it more fair and equitable. The reality is, if you look at Kaido, any of these main InfoFi leaderboards today, it is the same usual suspects across most of the leaderboards. Can you break in? Might someone have a day where they index well and score well? Sure. The reality is the way our algorithms work, the way crypto Twitter has become, if Whale or ICO Beast tweets about Polkadot today, it could be like they could copy paste a smaller account, tweet about Polkadot. They're going to rank on the Polkadot leaderboard tomorrow. It's just
but to play devil's advocate, don't they deserve that though? Right? Like I understand, like as a small account, like I get frustrated because I'm not earning yaps, but like nobody's coming to me to drive a Toyota to sell more Toyotas, right? They're going to LeBron James. So is this not the same?
It's not the same. No, not at all. If it's real original thought, they deserve it. If it's actual signal, they deserve it. Yes, absolutely. The system, why the system is broke, all those individuals I just mentioned, they do deserve the credit because they put out real good original thought often. And that's what's grown their following. That's what's indexed them high to where it gives them this ability. Where the breakdown occurs is, I'm just going to use him because he's on the screen. ICO Beast, Zeneca behind him. I think that's Vo on the last card. And then Whale. Any of those 4 individuals, they all post really good signal stuff from time to time. My point is, they also could post complete slop. Like Whale posts really good high signal stuff. He also will post, I earned 79 yaps yesterday. I ranked 57 on the Arbiter leaderboard. There's no value in that. The only person that cares about how many yaps Whale earned yesterday is Whale and Kaido. That's a big part of the problem of SocialFi is the large accounts who do put out high quality stuff and get rewarded for that. They also get almost the same rewards often for putting out complete slop and junk. And so because of that, it's like a double whammy. right? Like for the smaller account, not only can they have a harder time indexing when they put out high quality alpha, if they put out something that's slop, they're probably not getting anything. And so oftentimes the high quality alpha is going to get copy pasted by a larger account, and they're going to get the credit for the original thought. What I believe Xeet and really InfoFi as a category is attempting to do is reward high quality signal regardless of how many followers the account has. Reward high quality content regardless how many followers the account has. Now, if it's a high follower account and they're putting out good quality content, they should be at the top of the leaderboard. But what I don't think should be happening is when one of them tweets some just nonsense, they tweet a GM post and they mention one of the chains or one of the pre-TGA projects. There's literally no value out of it at all, other than the individual who posted is moving up leaderboards. That's what's broken. And I think that's what pawns and teams are attempting to fix here, is not nerf the ICO beasts of the world and not let them index on leaderboards, but only posts that should are the ones that count. Is that making sense? Because
no, it definitely makes sense. And I was, while you were saying all that, it got me thinking, because you posted about an AI agent in the war room this morning, and it got me thinking that I think one of the solutions, and again, I'm not a dev, I'm not a tech person, right? Like, I'm just talking out loud right now, right? Imagine, what if there was an InfoFi platform that leveraged an AI agent or agents that would scan the timeline for quality posts, and that's how you got rewarded versus just pure X impressions? Because it sounds like what everyone's saying, including you, is like, we want like signal over noise, right? So we want to reward the people regardless of the size of their account for posting quality stuff. Now, I wouldn't get as much rewards as an ICO beast if we both posted something quality, because my impressions are like 100, his impressions are 100,000, right? But if there was a way to actually scan the timeline without having, without having manually to do it, right? Like with PackMoon, they had this thing where like you could manually, right? They had like people that got nominated or something, and then they were approving posts or something like that. But could that be a future for InfoFi, is like having AI agents that identify these quality posts and get rewarded that way?
Yeah, I mean, potentially. I mean, so I think I'm guessing it's probably going to be a combination of the two. Like, whether you need an agent or not, like an AI is like, that's largely how I think they're all doing it today. I think just my read, I think Xeet is attempting to do both. I think they're attempting to, yes, use AI to help compile their data and their info, but also have a human element for quality control, is my guess. My read, I don't know how they're going to do it, but my guess, what they're attempting to do with these cards is to crowdsource rather, what PackMoon was doing. If you remember, PackMoon was one of the first SocialFi tokens that attempted to reward quality content over farming. Rewinding back one coin before that, and there might have been others that came in between, but my recollection, Portal Coin was one of the first that was like, people started muting it because it was everywhere on the timeline. It didn't matter what you said about Portal Coin. You could talk about your mom's birthday and then put Portal Coin in the hashtag Portal Coin, and you got points for it. You could talk about the big ugly bill and put Portal Coin in it, and you got points for it. Like, there was no quality control. It was just the more you talked about Portal Coin, the more impressions you got, the better you did, the more allocation you got. It led to just ridiculous slop and a lot of people muting Portal Coin. Then next, again, give me some grace here, it might not have been the exact next one, but from what I can remember, like the evolution, maybe this is a thread for today, the evolution of InfoFi, SocialFi, I'm not even talking, like, forget FriendTech and the others, just purely ones that were about, I say farming, getting rewarded for content on the timeline. Portal Coin rewarded anything and everything. PackMoon came in and they said, hey, we only want to reward high quality content. And this is if you were here then, that largely it was Blast Gold, but it was also PackMoon, which was launched on Blast. That was like the it's like Pac-Moon was what shot Jindifer. Pac-Moon combined with Blast Gold is what shot Jindifer, ICO Beast, and Clemente out of the cannon. Like, they were all on the timeline. They were creating content, but they really leaned into Pac-Moon and that model. And also, by the way, they were kind of double dipping because you could often talk about Pac-Moon and get some Blast Gold. Like, it was just Pac-Moon, though, my understanding is Lambo Land and that entire team, they were all doing it manually. Like, they were, I'm guessing, using some sort of AI to help index the post. And then they were going through, and my understanding is manually scrubbing each one and probably giving it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Like, yes, this was a quality post. No, this was a farm. How effective it was, I don't know. But that was at least what they attempted to do, was reward quality post over pure quantity of post. We've continued to see iterations, and I think what maybe what Xeet is building is, by the way, if you missed it, Von Frunton's willing to let you sell his Toyota. Maybe what Xeet is building here is that Pac-Moon model, but instead of Xeet having to have a team of moderators or content authenticators on the team, they're going to crowdsource it to the entire crypto Twitter community. And then you've got an army of people who aren't going out there and reposting and 3.3 in each other's posts so they can gamify their own points, but rather that's part of the game, part of the ecosystem they reward is the quality control is baked into the users. Now, I could poke holes in this pretty easily as well, because you say, well, that could be manipulated. And yeah, it certainly could. You could still have group chats that are going to go and say, yes, this is a great post when it's just junk, and they go downvote all the other stuff. But I think that at some point you could reach a scale that you can overcome. I don't even know what you want to call them. I shouldn't say bad actors, because they're playing a game that is they're finding loopholes or whatever you want to call it. So bad actors is going too far. But I think what they would attempt to do here, if they do what my thought is, like outsourcing this quality control by these cards and gamifying that, I think they could get enough scale that overcomes the group chats that are just the circle jerk of, hey, let's go like all each other posts to make it look legit. Is this tracking with you at all, Joey?
Yeah, no, it is. It makes sense, and I think to go back to the gamified thing, I do think you need to, when you're a new platform, and like anything in this space or in any space in general, right? Like, when I opened my first business, it was a health food store. We gamified by saying buy 10 get 1 free punch cards, right? And we would say, like, hey, on Sundays you got double punches, right? That's gamifying what we were doing to get people to come in and purchase more stuff. So I don't have a problem with gamification. I think it's important to do that in order to get people to use your platform. The reality is there has to be some type of reward system for people to want to do it. People in this, especially in this space, are not going to do something for free, right? Like, people are just not going to come in and just start using Xeet for no reason.
100%. 100%. And this, like, my take could be completely off. Maybe that's not what they're doing, but can you at least connect some dots looking forward of how a game like this, cards, like basically activating the users to be your quality control? Like, can you see some potential merit in that?
Oh yeah, I think if the idea of the cards, to your point, is like these people are, Xeet verifiers, right? And you should be engaging Xeet verified, right? You should be engaging with these people, and they're going to be looking for your stuff, and right, like, they're essentially like de facto arms of the team. That would be really cool, I think, right? Like, because now you get credit or recognized for engaging with these people as a smaller account. So I just think the more we talk about it, the more it's like we really have no idea. Like, we really have no idea what this is going to be. And it could be anything. But I think as long as it moves forward, right? Like, to your point, the iterations of Portal Coin, then Pac-Moon, then Kaido, and as long as it's a step forward, it could be successful. It's just, is it actually going to create more signal versus noise? And if it does, then I think it'll be bullish.
Yeah, I agree. And hey, maybe it's not good. Maybe it's not better. Maybe it's a step backwards. I think if so, they would iterate. I really don't think it's just like maybe it is. I would be shocked if it's purely a copy pasta of Fantasy Top. And not only would be shocked, I'd probably lose a little respect for Pawns. Not because he's wanting to copy something else that's working. I don't care. I would lose respect at how it's been positioned. Kind of like how I snapped back initially when, on Zubik or whoever I was taking shots at for farming the boost 150 times on launch day. And then he got nerfed, right? They was a better, they had something else there. And I just think knowing that and how this thing has been positioned, I think there's more than meets the eye. There's more than just a pack of cards here. There's more than just a Fantasy Top game. And Fantasy Top isn't the first, and it's not the last game with player cards. It's not even the first or last with player cards on crypto Twitter personalities. Fantasy Top wasn't novel in that regard. They were novel in gamifying the fantasy cards and making a DFS style game about it, I think. But there's a lot of things you could do with that, and I'm hopeful it's not just a carbon copy of Fantasy Top, because I just don't see how that actually solves what they're attempting to solve. Catching up the chat here, Yeet, spelled like Xeet. Mado says it doesn't matter if it's a copy. People have been copying ideas for ages in every aspect of life. That's how we survive. I think it was Walt Disney who said he's never stole an idea he didn't like. In school, they called it cheating. In the business world, it's masterminding. So yeah, I'm also a fan of copying things. I just don't think it's a direct copy.
Yeah, but it's how you position yourself, which is your point, right? If your whole branding is signal over noise, and so far all we've seen and been able to speculate about is noise, at what point do you pull the curtain back and say, here's why it's signal?
Yeah. And I don't know the answer, but I can see a path towards a bunch of active participants. And how do you make an active participant? Well, people who are talking about your app on the timeline, part of the problem. I honestly think part of the problem with InfoFi today is, I said this last week, Kaido, they're all doing it. Kaido, Cookie, Quacks, they're all encouraging you to put out noise on the timeline. Let me show you right now. I'm going to go to my wall, and this isn't a shot at wall chain. They're all doing it. This is all part of their model, because what I say earlier, when Whale tweets his GM post, and in the post it mentions, I earned 69 yaps yesterday. Two people care about that: Whale and Kaido, because Kaido's getting free press, free publicity. It's they want the users talking about their app on the timeline. It drives attention. It's how Kaido got to where they are today. Again, they're all doing it blatantly. Not a shot at Quacks. I like wall chain. They're blatantly doing it. I log in today, share this to X. Who the hell does anyone listening in care about that I earned 13.48 Quacks yesterday? Anyone other than me in wall chain? Does raise your hand? Let me know in the chat if you really care that I earned 13.48 Quacks. I'm not gonna do it. I'm still not gonna, because it's noise. It is nothing but noise. Literally no one cares except for me in wall chain. Why would I share it to X? Why would I copy the image? Because wall chain cares. Wall chain wants me talking about it. That's how they grow. So these InfoFi platforms, all of them benefit from noise talking about their own protocol. How do you stop that? Again, this may not be the route they're going, but one potential way you could stop it is stop telling people to talk about your platform. Rather, give your active participants, your players, another way to spread the word, right? And I think versus directly talking about the platform, it could be actively supporting real participants. So what is a participant? On Kaido, it's someone who's talking about Kaido on the timeline. What is a Xeet? A Yeet or Xeet or Yeet participant? Someone who is maybe talking about Xeet on the timeline, or someone who's holding cards and then they're going and supporting those cards of the players they hold. They're engaging with the content they put out there. I fully understand this can also be gamed. I'm trying to think of ways, how can you activate a player group without them constantly shilling your platform, which is noisy, I can see a path. This could be another way to do that. Is this tracking at all? Because I like some of this is coming to me in real time. I just that back to the wall chain example. It's just like that's part of the problem with InfoFi is they all these platforms, they want you spamming the timeline about how you're indexing on this leaderboard, how many yaps or quacks or cookies you earned the other day. That's not helping anyone except for those platforms. So I think if Xeet takes a different approach and they grow organically, not by encouraging their users to spam the timeline and tag Xeet or tell people how many yeets they earned yesterday, rather get out there and support the people that are having high quality content. That's how we're going to determine what's high quality. It's hard. Like, I still don't know how you'd have all the checks and balances, how you'd prevent all the game. Because the reality is also this place is, as far as like the general population is concerned, I think a much higher propensity to find loopholes, much higher propensity to find ways to game the system. And like, I don't know if there's a perfect solution yet. So I also am going to give them grace when they do launch. Like, I'm fully expecting whatever they launch, within 24 hours, people will be gaming it or attempting to game it. And they're going to have to roll out a patch. They're going to have to change the mechanics because this space is just, it's full of people who look for edge. And that's okay. It's just, it makes it hard for platforms to do what they're attempting to do.
I mean, there's money involved, right? So if there's money involved, people are going to try to find a way to earn more money, right? Especially if it's free money, right? Like whatever it is. I mean, it's kind of like the conversation of like, why do people, maybe it's not the same conversation, but like, why are there people out there literally just scanning smart contracts looking for, exploits to mint thousands of an NFT, then quickly floor them, or right, like, or snipe a token early because there's an exploit in the contract, right? Like, whenever there's money involved, there's going to be people trying to figure out a way to make more money. And is that the only way InfoFi works, is financial rewards? That's an honest question, by the way. Like, is that the only way InfoFi works?
It shouldn't. Today, yes. But I think where I'm trying to get to is, could you create a fun game? And I don't know, like, are people really going to have fun collecting cards of Twitter personalities if they're not making money on it? I don't think so. I think it's possible to incentivize create a game that is better. Like, I don't expect it to be perfect. I just think, I mean, one way it could be better is just stop doing this shit. Stop telling people to share how many quacks they have on the timeline. No one effing cares. No one cares except you and me. No one on the timeline wants to see this shit. Stop prompting it. If anyone disagrees, let me know. I think this is the most obvious, easiest fix for InfoFi. If you really want to declutter the timeline, if you really want it to stop being less noisy, stop rewarding. Like, not only take it one step further, not only stop rewarding them, freaking nerf them. So, and Whale, Swoosh, if you're listening, I love you. You're just an easy example because you're crushing it. You're crushing the game. But if Whale sends out another post about how many Arbitrum points he got yesterday and how many yaps he got, don't just give him 0 for that. Subtract his yaps equal to the total amount of yaps he would have earned. Like, you really want to, like, that'll instantly stop this activity. I don't know a single person who likes it. I don't know anyone who likes people talking about how many yaps they earned the day before. I don't know one person. If you're that person, let me know, and I will stop speaking in absolutes. I just think this is the most obvious, easiest fix. Stop rewarding people for talking about their own personal shit. No one cares about it. It's not Signal. It's not Alpha. It is pure engagement farming. The reason they haven't stopped it is it actually helps the platform. I'll go back and pull up my post from. I took a shot, not a shot at Ethan. Ethan just he like queued one up for me because it was like a lot of people do this, and it just so happened as the thing with the topic was on my mind over the weekend, and the first post I saw when I opened my X app was a post from Ethan doing this, and again, by no means is this a shot at Ethan. I'm not hating the player. I'm hating the game. Ethan's playing the game and he's doing it well. It's So here's the post. Been thinking a lot about how I hate the name too, by the way, Pawns. Give me something I can pronounce without having to think about it. Anyways, I've been thinking a lot how this Xeet.ai can improve InfoFi, help declutter the timeline, and actually reward quality content and signal. The challenge is Kaido, Wallchain, Cookie, and Xeet all benefit from the noise and often encourage it, either with direct prompts like I just mentioned, you earn 69 quacks, go share it on X, or indirectly, and this is what happens mostly, by rewarding with yaps, etc. for these I earned X posts. Exhibit A attached. Ethan, this is the post that encouraged my post. I earned 26 yaps yesterday on Kaido. I don't even post about Yapyo or InfoFi stuff. I earn organically by posting good content. I also have earned 1,599 smart followers. Turn on notifications so you can do the same. If you were born yesterday, this is not organic content. This is a triple farm. He's farming Kaido yaps with this post. He's farming followers with this post. And he's farming Yapyo. And 4 farms. He's telling people that he's giving a call to action to turn on notifications because that's how he will also earn more yaps because those posts will be seen. So this is like a Jedi level farm. He actually says, I don't even post about Yapyo or InfoFi stuff. It's exactly what he's doing here. Screenshot of his yaps earned. And I said, he's playing the current game encouraged by these platforms. That post, I didn't look, but that post probably earned him more yaps than my post that I actually thought about. Long-winded post here. A lot of thought went into it. It got 1,400 views. This isn't like, oh, woe is me. It's just how the thing works. This sort of activity, if you want to clean up, the simplest way is stop rewarding this. So my suggestion was, 0 points if your post talks about your own points or leaderboard ranking. Better yet, nerf and subtract the amount of points they're attempting to earn, and you will never see any more of this. And all of a sudden, overnight, our timeline is cleaner. Like, is that the perfect answer? Probably not. But it would absolutely, you can't tell me it wouldn't clean up the timeline, right? Like, do you enjoy seeing those posts, Joey? Do you care how many yaps Whale earned yesterday? You're muted, Joey.
I don't. I agree with you on this wholeheartedly on this topic. Like I don't care how many. If I cared how many yaps somebody earned, I'll go to the yap leaderboard and go look at it. I don't need my timeline full of people bragging about how many yaps they earned.
You know what I do need my timeline full of? We need more Zane white.
That's what I was actually commenting on that when you called on me, and I didn't get to finish putting my comment in.
Like Bold Leonidas is our generation's people. Next generation's Bold is going to be Zane. I'm calling it now. Maybe the most underrated account on crypto Twitter. The guy is, look at his bio. Previously, Gary V, Mr. Beast, Klanosaurs. I won't share. I don't know if it's all public who he's working with now, but like someone who should be getting more InfoFi points, someone who should have a mythical Xeet card is Zane. Guy's funny. He's like, he just did this in real time. I don't like Joey.
He's the king of the whiteboard, absolute king of the whiteboard.
I don't know what it says that my ape looks a lot better than your face, but I
don't know why I look like that. I almost look like I'm like a salamander or something. Kind of hurtful.
In all seriousness, though, we need more Zane whiteboard on the timeline. It is makes my day every time we see one, and Zane is the GOAT. I concur. Lost my train of thought with the Zane whiteboard.
Wait, can I ask you a question? What if
yes.
Steve has mentioned like a reward system that's not financial, right? Like, so for example, I'll use Flow. Flow, you get rewarded for using Flow dApps and things on the ecosystem, and then you get Flow points, and then those points you can go into their Flow store and you can get an iPad, you can get a MacBook, you can get all kinds of stuff, right? So like, is there a world where instead of InfoFi, like we're an InfoFi platform, instead of just rewarding you with pure money, right? Like just tokens, like similar to when I sign up for Reebok.com rewards, right? Like when I earn so many points, I get a $25 gift certificate to Reebok or whatever. So could could the future of InfoFi, so it's not so noisy, instead of being pure money ranking up the leaderboard, it's actual utility or benefits in that business or that ecosystem. So it's not, I mean, it's still financially incentivized, but not as much, because it's not just like, oh, here's $10,000 to do whatever you want with.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's layers to this, right? There's a lot of enhancements, a lot of different ways they could go. First is taking it beyond crypto Twitter, right? Like someone just, who was it? I think Von Frunten tagged us in the room. Who just announced they were going to podcast, maybe?
Oh yeah, the virtuals said you can now submit. So there's a submission now for virtuals where you can submit content on other platforms like TikTok and YouTube and whatever to get credit for talking about virtuals to, I guess, earn in their ecosystem.
Okay. So those Virgin points, that is, I mean, I think that's inevitable. Like, especially if anyone actually plans to expand beyond crypto Twitter in our bubble of an industry, then yeah, it's going to have to grow beyond just this app. TikTok, Instagram. I think those are the two that Kaido already said that they have in the works. But you know, Twitch and everything out there. It's like we're YouTube. Like this is just a very, very small sector of content. I think that's one area people can expand upon the platforms. I think the other is, just like you said, we've kind of talked about previously, like actual campaigns, not just talk about us getting on a leaderboard, but what do you want them talking about? Like provide them with some, you know, a brand guide, provide them with some memes, provide them with some gifts, provide them with some talking points, a narrative. What do you want people talking about? I don't know a single company, a traditional company on the planet that would launch a 6-figure marketing campaign and give it to interns and go do whatever. We don't care. Go talk about whatever you want on social media. Just spend the $100,000. It's crazy.
It would be cool. It would be cool if there was like a brand guide release when you, like on Kaido, like, hey, we're a pre-TG company and we're paying to be on Kaido, and here's what we're going to reward content. Here's what we're going to reward people for. And you put out, like you said, like a brand guide on, we want you to talk about this, use these graphics, whatever. So it's all in line with your brand.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. And I'm like close. If anyone's like, if this is tickling anyone's fancy, I've thought about it. I've had some conversations. I haven't done anything with it yet, but I think there's a real like spot there for it. Like the risk is the platforms could chop your legs out overnight if they wanted to start doing the same thing. So I'm like torn whether I go the path of attempting to work directly for a Kaido, a Xeet, one of these, and work with them exclusively, or what I prefer to do is, right now, they're all throwing spaghetti at the wall. There's just far too many of them. The Kaido, like, I don't know how many's on the Kaido league. They've got over 69 companies in their, like, they've already inked. They're not all active yet. They've not all been announced yet. Currently in the Kaido earn, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 41 listed in the current earn. I think there's a big opportunity. There's an agency opportunity just to support these clients. I'm kind of, again, maybe Kaido's heading this way, and I'm sending someone down. I counted these manually, and right there it tells me there's 41 of them. I couldn't. What the hell is Portal to Bitcoin? I don't know. I could check about it. I could learn a little bit about it. Like, oh, so Portal Bitcoin, most slept on campaign on the platform. Let's tell you why. Okay, why? Well, they've raised $43 million. That's cool. $500 million valuation, massive rewards pool, basically like everyone else on Kaido. Simple action, big rewards. Create content, earn yaps, claim your rewards. Again, everyone else on Kaido. Campaign's live right now, same as 40 other ones on Kaido. I'm not trying to be a smartass. Someone who doesn't know what Portal Bitcoin is, can you tell me what Portal Bitcoin is after reading that announcement? Because I don't have a fucking clue. And this is how most of them are. It's like, hey, the most slept on campaign on the platform. Let us tell you why. They list off 3 bullet points, 5, 6, call to action. Not one of these things tells me anything about it, but it's a Kaido campaign, and you can earn content by just talking about it. So what does that tell people to do? Oh, I'm just going to go talk about Portal Bitcoin, and what I'm going to talk about is what they told me. So Joey, did you know that Portal to Bitcoin raised $43 million from Coinbase Ventures, OKX Ventures, Arrington Capital, and other tier 1 VCs at a $530 million valuation? Yeah,
I had no idea, but if they told me about it, I might tweet about it and maybe earn some yaps.
But that's my point. Is like all we know is that it's a Kaido campaign and they got funded. Now, could I go through their account to follow, go to their actual website? Let me see what I see here. Custodyless cross-chain protocol for Bitcoin. Portal is the safest and easiest pass to Bitcoin from other chains and L2s. Our BitScaler-based infrastructure is ushering in the new era of custodyless cross-chain transactions that are fast, seamless, and secure. I mean, I guess I could read more about it. I could read their press and I could do some digging here and maybe put out a thoughtful post about this, but they're making me work for it. And maybe that's what they want. Like, oh, you really got to do a bunch of research to figure out what these companies are doing. Oh, here finally, after a few clicks with Portal, you get elimination of custodial risk and bridge vulnerabilities, near zero swap fees, compatibility with any L1, L2, or DApp, seamless, secure, and scalable infrastructure, a user experience rivaling centralized exchanges. I still don't know why I want to do this, but there you go. Like that took a little bit of work. I think the simple answer is going back to this leaderboard, and when you check details, there's like here's your brand guide. Here is 4 talking points. That's more than just we got funded, we're on the Kaido leaderboard, talk about us, you're gonna get paid. But actually, what is the narrative? If you had a marketing agency, if you had a VP of marketing, what message, what drum would they be beating? Any good marketing campaign, there's an actual campaign. It's not just talk about us. And that's the good direction of, and if you're happen to be on the Portal to Bitcoin team and you're listening, I apologize for using you as an example. But you're not wrong though, because like I wanted to test to see if I could earn yaps. So I was like, all right, I'm going to tweet about Arbitrum. I'm going to tweet about Monad, and I was earning like a yap a day. It wasn't a lot. But I had to figure out what to talk about. I had to really dig to find information. Now it helped because I learned about Arbitrum and Monad because I did so much digging, but it wasn't easy to find stuff to talk about. And how do I even know if it's what they want me to talk about? Bingo.
To your point.
Bingo. Right now, I'm guessing Arbitrum would probably like people talking about Robinhood chain and Robinhood launching on Arbitrum. I know that because I'm here every day. Arbitrum's also in the news lately. That should be just very and maybe the answer is they don't want to put it right in front of your face. They don't want to give you the talking points because that just leads to more slop and more copy pasta shit on the timeline. But man, some sort of guidance, some sort of actual tools and resources to talk about what they want you talking about, to give some direction, to give some consistency, to get your people rowing in the same direction. Back to the, you've got a VP of marketing and they've got 20 people on their team. They give marching orders. They tell the team what to talk about. It's seems so obvious, and yet we've not got there yet in the InfoFi arena. And I'm not saying that that's what Xeet is going to do. I think there's so much opportunity to improve upon what we have today. And I don't think Xeet's going to be the last, because until someone nails it, we're just going to continue to see iterations until this actually we get to the end product. And I still think in this whole InfoFi, SocialFi game, we're like maybe in the top of the first inning from where where it gets to 5 years from now, where it's crossed all platforms. It's only rewarding quality. You're not having to see the post. I earned 89 yaps yesterday. I'm rooting for it. I want to see Xeet do well. So I'll hold all my judgment. I've obviously shared my thoughts this morning on what I think they could be doing, but Sarah says in the chat, and the algorithm dings you in your account for spreading that nonsense too. Folks need to understand what behaviors and words get demoted and have reduced visibility here on X. Accounts that feel spammy and robotic put into digital playpens and no one sees their post. Sometimes, but not all. There's some accounts that they get rewarded for being spammy and robotic. Maybe they get put in X jail for a little while, but I've seen a lot of those accounts. Like, you look at the kind of leaderboard. I'm not gonna sing anyone out. I'm not gonna take more shots. I've already probably pissed off Ethan and Zubik and some other friends that just like they're playing the game. They're playing the game well, and I'm not hating them. If we're talking about how can we improve this system, I think there are. I'm trying to interpret Meta8, my favorite banker bot friend, makes it rain with the banker bot tips on X. Says wait until Gary V understands that you can just tweet or post V friends right here on the X timeline. Oh my goodness, he sent Hummingbird. So this is I know I've said this a few times. If you know anyone on that Meta8, if you know anyone on the BankerBot team, overdue invite. We need to have him on the show. This is pretty cool. A little quick segue here. I knew he could send tokens. He's again tipped multiple times using the BankerBot. Just sent this VFriend NFT to its Poopster, and within minutes, it responded and sent the NFT from Meta8's wallet to its Poopster. Like, that's pretty cool. Like if you had told someone you could send an NFT in 2021, you just told someone you could send an NFT just by tagging an AI agent on X to do it, like, people would look like you're really crazy. Like, this is really actually pretty neat that we're able to do this now. We can transact on X just by tagging BankerBot. Like, more people should be talking about this, but we're not, because we get paid more to let you know how many quacks I earned yesterday. Anyways, I'm going to stop ranting on the Xeet/Yeet/InfoFi mania that has taken over the timeline. I just would say brace yourself, because I think we're going to see more before we see less. I know running kind of a unique show this week with San Steve. We lost Joey as well. So I have maybe Meta8 sent me the emoji. Thank you, bud. He did pin up the that Genesis protocol. Let me pull that up really. I'll hit on that. And then if there's anything else I've missed, didn't hit on yet today that you got thoughts on, let me know in the chat, and I will we'll get to it here next. Otherwise, we might wrap up a few minutes early today. I jinxed myself saying the co-host list show was driving more audience participation engagement, unless my X is broken. So here's what we were talking about with virtuals and their Virgin points. So Virgin Contributor Program, yapping for points, is now no longer limited to X. The Genesis Point program expands to reward contributors across major platforms and in real life, whether you're breaking down agents on YouTube, publishing research on some Chinese site, or hosting meetups in Shanghai. And impactful work now earns Genesis points. This one's interesting, how they pull that off, hosting meetups. The program recognizes contributions to drive reach, clarity, and participation across the ecosystem. Eligible contributions include TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Reddit, personal blogs, videos, explainers, research and translations, podcasts, visual breakdowns, deep dives, multi-language content, hosting in real life gatherings at crypto/AI events. It's not about noise, it's about signal. All submissions are manually reviewed, points allocated based on quality, not cadence. Submissions and nominations are open anytime Reviews happen weekly. Rewards are distributed gradually across the month. I'm curious. Like I will participate. I will play around with it. I'm gonna probably go submit a nomination for someone today, just so I can play with their form. That's what I'm showing you here. It's just a simple Google form. Basically, what platform, link to the content, confirm you've linked your X account to the virtuals platform, and that you DM'd us on your platform of choice to verify that it is you. So I guess I can't. So it's self-nomination. Interesting. I've got a lot of thoughts on this actually, but it's exciting. I don't think. I mean, what do they say? Do the unscalable. This is unscalable. I just don't see how they could do a manual review like this for perpetuity. But maybe I'm not only like they could. I think you're probably going to have. Maybe they run into some questions of, especially if some people start getting credit for stuff that's questionable and others don't. Like I could see it be met with some blowback because you got humans involved, ironically. But this is the way. Like this is the way. Like to expand beyond crypto Twitter, we have to expand beyond Twitter. Like it's just like most content consumers aren't on this app. Most content creators aren't on this app. Right now, all the stuff only rewards activity on this app. And I think not only will it be good for creators, probably the biggest net positive for crypto onboarding in general is getting all the creators on crypto Twitter to start talking about these other platforms because they're not going to get rewarded. Sarah, always a pleasure. Hope you didn't mind me quoting your response there. GM, is that what brought you up? Feel free to take it.
Yeah, always GM. No, actually, I was going to fill in the spot here until Joey comes back up because sometimes you can hear in your voice, it's a little like, what should I talk about now? And I thought about it and I thought, hey, I got a good question that only you could answer.
What's the question?
My husband is a degen. I didn't realize this until I taught him all of the ways of pirate money. And the whole kind of idea of gambling and trading and this, that, and the other thing. I introduced him to Billy Betts last night. And I was thinking about, I always send him your recordings. For many people, we listen at different times and whatnot. And I thought, every day you and Steve talk about, all of these different communities, the different kind of gamification of coins, etc. But it's almost like we always assume that everybody knows it, and there are a lot of people who are trying to understand parallel economies, and gamification is the one way that they learn these things. It's sexier to learn by a game than, reading the white papers and trying to figure it out. And I was just curious if you went back and talked to your 2019 or 2020 self whenever you came into this Web3 crypto Twitter arena, how would you kind of onboard a person that's never heard of this thing? Number one. Number two, what you just mentioned about parallel economies is super important. Twitter just changed their terms of service for creators and the subscription model. And again, if you're not pulling everybody into your one hub and all of your channels are spokes from your hub, you're not owning your own journey, I think. But I'm just curious your point of view, because I always enjoyed talking to you and listening to you and being a part of the DGen network. I think most people don't know about the tokens and the Discord channel and the camaraderie and the wonderful people that are in there. So I just kind of wanted to come up and ask that question. What would your 2019, 2020 self, how would you onboard someone now? Not so that they're going to get wrecked, but what to look for. How do you set up your workflow to look in on all of these accounts and that kind of thing?
It's a good question. I don't even know. That's a problem. Like, I don't know. And I have stopped onboarding people to the space. That's also a problem.
Why do you suppose that is? Is it because of all of the degenerate, or is it just because, sometimes it's just really grinding to explain to someone who doesn't believe in it or thinks it's vaporware or whatever?
Yeah, I think part of it's baggage. I think part of it, like I did onboard friends in 21. Some of them came in and did very well. Most of them ended up getting burnt sooner or later. Like, or like even the ones who did well, like it just like sucked the air out of them when things like went, really sideways. I would onboard, like I've onboard, like I shouldn't say I've stopped onboarding. I talk about Billy Nuts to my friends because it's the group said sports bettors. Makes sense. It's something they would actually use. So I think it's like the difference is though, I don't know, like you got me kind of stumped because I love the space. I love the people here.
Well, I
Feels
think
like we
too,
did
your
kind
daily shows, that is a form of onboarding. It's basically giving exposure to all of the different communities and what's out there in this sphere of DeFi or, degenerate, whatever. But it is interesting because I was never a sports bettor. I just don't bet. I was always a stockbroker. So, I wanted to know, the devil that kind of thing. But it is very fascinating to me because daily, both you and Steve, you show up every day and you show us lots of different communities and lots of different ways and channels people can be profitable. And it is interesting because one man's poison is another man's porridge, and some people, like we were talking, or I posted, if you are trying to get yaps, for instance, that may be your comfort zone where you just click resend, click, repost, and that is your network. That's your game, the gamification of life in general. You know what I mean?
I do.
And others, it's not.
You might have just unboxed why I don't onboard anyone to this space anymore because I feel like most of what we talk about is what we're talking about. Like most of what we talk about is InfoFi, not the actual products or protocols that we're supposed to be talking about. Most of the people on the Kaido leaderboard for Arbitrum is not because they've given great dissertations on Arbitrum, but they're just loud and noisy. And it's, I don't know. Like, I think maybe that's part of it is like, I think I don't say we lost our way. It just, I'm a DGen. A lot of my friends are DGens. They're sports bettors. They're gamblers. They're investors. The meme coin mania went a little too far for comfort in terms of like, not something I would like. Not something I feel comfortable encouraging my friends to get into. There's just nothing to talk about really, other than the meme, other than number go up. And 2021 got really excited, talked a lot about the tech and what it was unlocking. And now we're seeing a lot of that come to fruition. But a lot of it is, I don't even know. This is like something I'm probably going to have me thinking about this the rest of the day because I'm having trouble pinning down why I wasn't opposed, or actually I absolutely introduced my friends to Top Shot and Punk's Comics, but yet zero chance I introduced them to Good Vibes Club. And I love that team. They're awesome. I love what they're building. Maybe it's my own personal PTSD with NFTs and founders here and feeling like, I actually, no, you connected the dot. People are gonna laugh, but it was Cairo. Cairo was the final straw. The last thing I onboarded my friends to in crypto Twitter, or in crypto like deep, was Moonbirds. And even some friends, like they made $100,000 off that mint. They got in the raffle, they minted it for 2.5 ETH, and they sold it for 100 grand. But how that thing ended, how Cairo rugged us and basically just lied for 6 months when he had nothing going on. And because of how I spoke about him and Moonbirds, and although they're really like it kind of embarrassed me. I put faith and trust in someone who I'm like, I is the worst grifter, the biggest charlatan we've had in the space, from my personal perspective, because he's someone who I did respect previously. I listened to his podcast before he got into crypto. When he started Modern Finance, like it was one of my biggest ones in my rotation. it was.
Well, it's interesting too.
And so like,
go
I
finish your thought.
talk about Gary too, Gary V, and he's not done the K-Row rug, but it was like that, how the thing they you know, shutting down the proof of conference, like this, like how he handled himself in that business, in this space, after I had put him on a pedestal, so to speak, and this is a real entrepreneur. This is someone who's built businesses before, and knowing that he never really had like massive success in those businesses, kind of fumbled some exits, but even still, like someone I thought was like, oh, this is like leveling up crypto. Like no longer is crypto going to be viewed as just like the degens or the Zoomer in someone's mom's basement. It's like these are like real business builders coming in, and then like him being like one of the worst that to do it. It was, I obviously it's something I still like, I feel a way about, and I haven't really, like I said, haven't unpacked this till just now, but how he made me feel after I talked his business and his project up to my in real life friends, and then how he handled that, like that's probably, I got on my therapist couch here this morning with Sarah. That's probably the number one reason why I don't actively onboard any of my friends into the space anymore.
Well, it's interesting. The reason why, at least I'm distilling down what you just said, is that it's the reputation laundering. There are so many people here in the space that will pick good people, genuine people, people that other outside folks and inside folks trust, and they social engineer them to launder their own reputations. And I think that's one of the hardest parts of this whole entire ecosystem. But deep down, you can't beat yourself up about it, because honestly, I show up to Web3 or crypto world, pirate money world, not because of the gaming and everything else. It's the good people, and it's the technology. Those parallel economies are super important. And, any economy, any technology, the thing that pushes it forward is either game or porn. I know that sounds weird, but it's true. If you go on to educational and, school marm YouTube, you're not going to have very much content or people or traffic. But if you have a gamification of something, nothing attracts the crowd like a crowd, and a quick win attracts a crowd. But I do think, it is interesting to hear this, because you know what? My husband is an accountant. He's as straight-laced as they come. He is Mr. I'm going to count all of the beans, right? But he is now understanding that there is a parallel economy that's working on Circle, or working on Tether, or working on Arbitrum, or working on, whatever rails are out there, and the different kinds of currencies. There's a difference between an asset and a currency, but the currencies out there, and wants to understand, why are these going into an ETF? Why are these going into my 401k? And then, I look at this and he thinks, if you give him a basket full of wonderful things to play with. That's how I learned, right? Everybody learns by getting burned a little bit, and that PTSD does carry. And it's not because they wounded you personally; they wounded people that you care about, that's the hard part.
Yep. Diablito in the chat says, I basically only talk to people about RWA businesses like in-house and making coffee. Everything else is too nebulous to explain. People kind of understand the RWA stuff more. I'm similar. Like our NBA stuff's easier to explain. Billy Betts easy to explain to my sports betting friends. I still, I take it back. I still onboard people into the space, not the space at large. I onboard people into specific applications or protocols that I think they would enjoy. BZ, I onboarded someone to the BZ call because I know they're a big real life collector. Like that is, so it's like I've just become very direct with my recommendations with onboarding, as opposed to join this space at large, which 95% of it might be a turnoff to some of those people, but the 5% they really would enjoy. So I've been very more in I guess onboarding with specific intent to things where I feel there's an actual match, as opposed to coming to just this wild world that is crypto Twitter.
Well, you're a digital Sherpa is what you are. That's what you are. You're all of, this kind of community. You're a digital Sherpa. You're taking your folks up to the mountaintop in various, paths, right? And we all come amongst different paths. But I just wanted to come up and, be a sounding board for a little bit, because you don't end for 6 more minutes at least, at the bare minimum. And I want to make sure that you, you know, see everybody off onto an awesome Wednesday. We're already starting the second half of the year, and there's lots of opportunities. And the things that I learn on this show specifically are so unique. We have lots of friends in other groups and whatnot. I know that last night, I think it was Profits. I never listened to her show. I hear her when she's on your stage, but she has a big problem in her family. One of her cousins is very, very sick, and it put everything into perspective because it's this little boy, you know, and you start thinking about your why. Why are you here? And to some, it's to make money and change their stars. There's no question about it. I know I've changed my stars. I've become a better human. I've met some really amazing people through this group, and you're one of them, Cap. And I enjoy spending my time and having you in my pocket family and all of the really amazing people, good people, solid people, people that are not going to rug us. They're just trying to, tread water like the rest of us. But you've been doing a fantastic job this week too. And I'm just so proud of you and the group. I mean, look at how many people are here every single morning. We are the Cheers, this is the new Cheers. It's not going to the bar down at the pub or whatever. This is our morning coffee. And it is where we get to meet with Pocket Family and discuss things that are out in the digital overlay that are going to affect our lives. And I know for me, you know what? I've looked in my wallet. I'm sure all of these have rugged, but that wasn't the reason I purchased them. I purchased them because the project was cool. The idea was cool. And some of them had super awesome merit. There are some projects in my wallet that are awesome. I sent them all to the moon too. They are so freaking awesome, and they never got a chance. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, but I wouldn't change it for anything because, they're really awesome people behind these PFPs, you included. So at any rate, you're going to close it out, I think.
I appreciate the kind words. You got some love in the chat. PT6 in the abstract chat says, this is my first time being here, and the person who's speaking now is speaking the truth. Really enjoyed being here a ton. I'll be a frequenter as much as possible because this is the InfoFi I want to be a part of.
That's right.
If you're PT6, if you're on X, you'll see Sarah's on the stage on the audio spaces. If not, it's Sarah in ITIOUS. Serendipitous.
Spelt wrong. It's just the blue-haired lady. That's
Perfect.
Fine.
Thanks again. Appreciate all the kind words. Thanks for jumping up. And Jambert, I agree. So I mentioned my K-Rose story. Another one, he said, yeah, I feel you on that. I've been burnt many times. Artifact was sad. I hyped it up as a sneakerhead in the new tech. That's probably also weighs in. It's not just K-Row. It's also the big brands like Nike who came in and then exited unceremoniously. Jonah, GM, winding things down here. Give you the final words. What brought you up?
Yeah, just I don't think there's a need to onboard anyone ever for anything. I think if something is really interesting, people will onboard themselves, and I think that's that's the thing a lot of people in crypto grapple with is most of the stuff is really boring. It's actually not interesting. To be honest, even the Xeet stuff, I don't think normal people would ever care. Great, I have a card pack of people that I don't know, and they are making money on Twitter, which I probably don't use. It's just why? Why should we try to onboard someone if there's nothing for them to onboard to? And I think if you're building something in crypto, you have to realize that you're not building a crypto business. You're building a business in whatever vertical you're using, and crypto is just a back end rails, right? And I think that's been the issue for most people is they put the rails in front of the actual, product, whether it's B2B or B2C or both. I just think that's what it is. We've matured.
Yeah, I agree. That said, I still think that I don't want to not share things that I think my friends might be interested in. And I have I think there's probably this not hesitancy, but I think twice about it now. I'm not going to just pray and spray and introduce them to everything. It is going to be stuff that I genuinely think that they're going to be interested in, not having anything to do with number go up or our financial return. We have matured. It's a good thing. We shouldn't have to try to onboard people. I agree with you there. We shouldn't have to like force anything. But I think there is something to be said that it could be a more warming environment, maybe for those that, let's say they do find a new game they really enjoy, and they're like adjacent to our world. Where do they even like I think about my own journey. Like I started with Top Shot, something I enjoyed. Then I found Zed, I enjoyed it. And then I got down the rabbit hole and I haven't left since. I don't know what that journey looks like quite today. Like, how do you go from Beezy to crypto Twitter? How do you go from Jonah's game to crypto Twitter? It's just like the path from finding something that happens to be on chain that you really enjoy to immersing yourself in the larger ecosystem.
I don't want any of my users of, like, for example, we have a product coming out this month. I don't want any of those users from Web2 to come to crypto Twitter at all. Like I don't want them to come here.
And why is that?
Because I think it creates like a really toxic environment. I think that if you're building a business, the first rule of business is to meet a customer where they're at. That's like the first rule of business. I mean, this is business school 101. Meet the customer where they're at. If they're on Reddit, then okay, well, like, what's my Reddit strategy? If they're on Twitter, okay, what's my Twitter strategy? Instagram, YouTube. I don't want to be seen as a digital version of I forget the Jehovah's Witness, because that's what it comes off as when you do that. It's like it comes off as you're a Jehovah's Witness, and it's weird. It's cringe. I want to build where they're at. And I think that crypto Twitter is such a negative, pessimistic place where only the worst gamblers go to exist. I'm not saying you, but the vast majority are this case.
What changed it though? Because it wasn't always like, I didn't feel that like something happened in the last, it was at the bear market. Like I didn't feel
they all lost their money trading meme coins because the LA vape cabal convinced everyone that this was the future.
But do you agree it didn't used to be this negative cesspool? Like I don't like it, and I think like that's like you just that's why I'm not onboarding people to crypto Twitter is unless they're here and they understand the nuances. It like the first, second, third impression could not are probably likely to not be good ones, and it didn't always used to be this way. Like I still enjoy crypto Twitter. I'm still here freaking every day, but it absolutely has changed a lot.
So we're talking about things that people, even if the problem with the positivity as well is that like we're talking about things people don't give a shit about. Like no one unless you love the IP, no one gives a shit about collecting some NFTs that they've never heard of. Like no one cares. Like nobody cares about buying Ethereum unless their financial advisor is involved, at least the normal people, or like there's a narrative that reaches the world of NVIDIA, like saying that, these GPUs are powering this network and therefore the value is X. Like, no, the half the stuff we talk about here, no one actually cares about. Like, there's no people here have a complete misunderstanding of what normal people believe in, because people here are too money thinking, and most people in the world don't. They're the reason why we don't have a bunch of millionaires in the world that only think about money is because the average person doesn't think like that. Like they think about their family, they think about entertainment, they think about escapism, they think about seeing their kids, grow up. They think about the idea of getting a new car for their kid. Like things that everyone here overcomplicates shit. Like there's a very simple emotional framework for the average person in America and the world. And money is usually not at the center of it unless they're already desperate for money. And those people who come to crypto Twitter are upset because they're already desperate for money. So it's just this like hedonic treadmill that you're never going to escape from unless you're building for people beyond Twitter.
Yeah, I agree. And you also, something you said there in passing, I'll just double tap on and then we'll let everyone get out of here. But stuff that's really going well right now, the stuff that's really exciting from a fundamental layer standpoint and for the future of things coming on chain, it's just not exciting. Like stablecoin adoption is going through the roof. What the hell are you going to like most of my, at least I'm going to say this, like, I don't have any friends in like third world developing countries. So most of my friends, they don't like the fear of not being able to transact is not a real fear for them. Like did they pay their $35 when they ACH funds to someone? Sure. it's not the end of the world to them. Like, it's just like stable coins aren't exciting. The growth of Ethereum L2s not exciting. Like,
well, think about it like this. Like, why has all the steam from crypto moved over to AI? I mean, there's a simple response. I have the power to make a video. I have the power to make a product. I have the power to get therapy help, even if even if it's not recommended. I can make a fake girlfriend or a fake content creator. Like, these things are root emotional responses for people that are not like, I don't walk into Chase Bank and talk about my day at Chase Bank. I walk into Chase Bank to deposit or withdraw my cash or move money to another account. And crypto has only been proven to work for only two things: speculation and payment transfer. That's it. Those are the two things. And then whenever you're building as a business, that is a different market, but uses crypto on the back end to make settlements faster. And we're trying to shoehorn all these different potential businesses into a spreadsheet that it doesn't work. 2 + 2 doesn't equal 6.
Yeah, good take. I agree. I think and there is a lot of exciting stuff being built too. It's just, I think we're at a point where I don't think we should be onboarding people to crypto or blockchain tech. We should be onboarding people to applications that are on chain that's better than what they're accustomed to. Like, that's it. Like, talk about the thing.
Sure, but even then, what's the point of onboarding? Because, like, if the app really is better than what they already have and they are running proper marketing, then it'll happen naturally.
Well, so sharing, being a brand ambassador, right? Like, yeah,
sure, yeah, but then make interesting content around it.
Yeah, exactly that. So yeah, good.
Like, the Billy Betts thing actually sounds like something that my buddies would use, regardless of it being in crypto. Like, I've heard these spaces, and I'm like, oh, an arb market for people who place bets, plus an AI that can help determine like the best bet. I mean, I got a crew of 6 buddies of mine from college in a group chat, not in Web3 at all. And if I showed them that, they'd probably use it because they're using Hard Rock Bet and a bunch of other, parlay style apps daily. And I don't think they care if it's crypto or not. If they know that they can make more money or it's more interesting, they would use it.
100% agreed. 100% agreed. And yeah, I think that's, you mentioned we're mature, and I think that's it. It's like, we don't need to force mass onboarding. We don't need to onboard, like, the idea of like a mass onboarding, like, I just don't know if like that's going to happen, but it's not going to happen by a mass onboarding to crypto Twitter. It's just people are going to start using the stuff that comes on chain. I think from our onboarding mentality, it's finding things that we enjoy, or that maybe you're not a sports bettor. If you know a sports bettor, show them Billy Bet, see what they think, get their feedback. You can do the whole thing without even having to mention crypto. I mean, yeah, it's on chain. Does that unlock some other features and functionality? Absolutely. But yeah, I just good. I got on the couch this morning. I wasn't planning on that. Sarah and Jonah both helped unpack my why I have stopped onboarding friends into the space. It's not that I've stopped onboarding them. I'm just being very intentful and specific with my onboarding. Well, last thing, and then 2 things actually. One, Sarah mentioned DJ Network, our socials. I posted that, and then I was going to pin it up top, and I failed to do that yet. Twitter is really funky this morning. It looks like I'm not the only one, but I'm having trouble even to get anything to open. So really appreciate everyone who powered through and hung out with us today, because X is not functioning at its full capabilities here. But that is pinned up top now. If you wanted to, if you wanted to check out the war room, those passes, I don't know, they're a little bit. Follow for actually the one link that's not in there is our YouTube. So let me go give you that link. I'm going to pin that up top. Would love some extra support over there. Our guy Payne certainly deserves that and much more, with all that he does on the production front, both for our YouTube as well as our podcast. That podcast feed comes out usually early afternoons, and I'm going to post it right below the DJ Network link tree that I just shared. So that YouTube post is there. If you don't mind, go ahead over there. Even if you don't normally tune into YouTube, would really appreciate the subscription. Just looking, on a topical here, looking to grow some of our channels. Von Frunten achieved the king of YouTube this morning, early GMer over there, and always giving us the love in the YouTube streets. That's pinned up top, though. If you don't mind giving us a follow, a subscribe, we would greatly appreciate it. Don't ask for much here, but would love some more support over there, and to get these other, especially if X keeps acting up here. If X drugs us someday, we'll need to mass onboard everyone to YouTube and other channels. But topical on the Billy Betts front, and then this is it. I promise. Final take on the day. Final mention on the day. After running extremely hot, 14 in a row, six parlays in a row on Caps Clutch Market Parlay of the day. We've missed the last couple. Went some heavy underdogs last night. If it would have hit, would have paid out $178, about $100 to a listener this morning. We just missed it. But yeah, if this is the first time you're hearing about Billy Betts, go get Billy Betts a follow. Ask Billy Betts. It is a fan of underdogs lately and has been running pretty hot. I think hit 2 of the 3, if I'm not mistaken, but gotta hit them all for those parlays. But we'll fire out another Clutch Market Parlay of the day here this afternoon, this evening. I think it's mostly night game slate today, so we'll get that out later, and hopefully we get back on and start a new winning streak tomorrow. But with that being said, really appreciate everyone tuning in today, powering through the X challenges. Appreciate all the love on the YouTube account, all the likes and subscribes over there. And our newsletter, if you've not yet hit that comes out on Friday afternoons. Sarah is the best. Teacher Katie giving you some love in the abstract chat as well. Abstract chat popping off. Rocky with the big tip over there this morning. Really appreciate that. And we'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern time. The carousel's up top all the way to the right. Scan over there and hit that reminder link if you haven't done so yet. For Thursday and Friday, and we'll be back then. And as always, as my buddy Steve would say, I hope you all have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.